Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all watching this. This is Hype, where minds collide, ideas amplify. I'm your host, Dean Young. Today, I'm going to have a panel of very special guests joining me. But before the revelation, let's give you a little bit of background. China's pet market had surged to $40 billion in 2023. More people are having pets. More people are willing to spend more on their pets. More cities are talking about creating more pet-friendly zones and spaces, and lawmakers are talking about how to regulate it. So what are the stories behind those changes? Today, I invited a few guests to join me to share their stories and to share their insights into the changes. Let me introduce my first guest sitting next to me in the studio, Ma Yina. And she is an owner of a pet boarding service in Beijing. Actually, quite a good one. It's called TA Pets or Ta Pets. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ina. I'm the founder of Tamen Pets Resorts located in Beijing. It's very nice to meet you guys today.
Just very quickly, what does it do? What kind of service do you provide?
It's a combination of the grooming, boarding services, social classes, and so many things.
For pets?
Yeah, for pets only.
Mainly for dog and cats?
Yes.
Okay. And I also have a panel of guests joining me from online. The first one is Dr. Ray Burstein. He is the medical director of the Vancouver Veterinary Group. Hello, doctor.
Hi there. Pleased to be here. My name is Dr. Ray Burstein.
I've seen that you've brought out a special mystery guest first. What is his name?
That's right. This is Mr. Pirate. And I'm a veterinarian in British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada, and a YouTuber. And Mr. Pirate is one of my co-stars on my YouTube channel.
I've always heard there's stories about the pets or pet owners being taken to a vet, and they're always very nervous. So are your cats, your pets, so nervous about walking around you, doctor?
No, they're quite used to it. Mr. Pirate comes to work with me quite often and hangs out in my office.
Lovely. And our third guest to join us from online is Dr. Cao Shijie, a vet and the founder of a Cuteness vet clinic in China's Hangzhou. Hi, doctor.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Cao from Hangzhou Cotton Veterinary Hospital, and he is Sanchi. Say hello to everyone. Hi.
What is your secret of training? Is it him or is it her?
It's he. It's he.
Oh, so what's your secret of training him? Because he never barks. I would expect the dog to bark into the camera.
I would say it's just the personality. We didn't do specific training or something. Just let him to be himself.
Well, hopefully that they will join us during the show to give their opinions over the things that we're going to talk about. So before we move on with today's discussion, I'd like to remind all of you watching this, you can join the discussion on CGTN's all the social media accounts and leave your opinions and thoughts in the comment section. So now let's officially kickstart the show today.
Okay, hey Dean, guess what? Before you actually asking our questions, we want to have you have a quick quiz to test.
The table has been turned.
Yes, so to test how much you know about this industry. Are you ready to it?
Before that, I think I have a confession to make. I think of all the guests that I'm sitting here today, I'm the only one that, for the moment, who doesn't own a pet. But try me. I will try my best.
Okay, don't worry. We'll carry you.
Okay.
So you see a picture right there. Guess what it is?
It feels like in a container for a shampoo or shower gel or something. Are you sure it's used for pet only, or something that's?
If you want, you can have a try. But yes, it's designed for pets. But you get very close. We call it paw washer. So it's to wash paws and
wash paws.
Yes, majority for dogs. So after they have their outdoor activities and before they jumping onto the bed.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure people want to make their paws clean. So basically, we apply gels on the side and plug paws inside of the machine.
So what do you use it? Just put the tiny paws on that round area, which looks like a fan or something, and then you can just push it, and the gel will just
will
sprayed
coming
onto
out.
the cans.
Yes,
on the
and
paws.
you plug the paw
plug
the
into
hole,
it. Oh.
in the hole, and there is some kind of silica soft brushes underneath it, and can clean it for you.
Okay.
But sometimes the paw's easy to get wet after using it.
Yeah.
So we dry them up.
Okay.
And then we're done with all the process.
I flipped that one. So what is the next one? Are you sure it's not in a bottle opener? Or a keychain?
Oh, it's very, yeah, it looks like a keychain.
Yeah, it's very handsome. So what is useful?
We call it a seat belt. And
what?
it's a seat belt. You know, for
like in a car, in a vehicle?
Yes. So people want to invite their pets to come along with them on the car during the trip, especially during the short trip, city trip. Some big dogs are hard to keep in the cage.
Yeah.
So we can invite them sit on our seat next to us, but we don't want them so lively, walk around, interrupting people. So we can help them fasten their seatbelt to keep them safe on the seat.
Especially to keep the driver safe.
Both of them, since we don't want, when we use brake or gas, we don't want them fall on the ground.
So basically that is the buckle of this belt?
Yes.
Okay.
One side to connect the pads, the other side to connect the belt.
Okay. So doesn't a vehicle have to have something similar to that in order for this to work, or you can actually use it in any vehicle?
Yes, it's an extra accessory.
Nice, nice. So what's the next one? Well, 2 out of 3 I've guessed wrong. And this one, if you ask me in any other circumstance, I would say this is a secret lighter, but I'm pretty sure it is not.
It is not. It's actually call it a snack carrier. It's a carry-on snack box. So when we have like a picnic with dog outside, or we have, or just simply walk them outside, we don't want just grab the snacks by hands, right? They will get our hands dirty, so we will put snack in the box and carry them with us.
So actually, how large it is? What is the size of it? Because it looks from the screen, it's just like in a secret lighter. But
just a palm size.
It's a palm size?
Yes.
So make sure that you don't accidentally feed too much snacks, too many snacks to your pet.
No, we don't want that.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that I'm very ignorant in this field. I mean, that's why I have experts with me today. So before we move on with the discussion, after I failed the test, the quiz, let's have a quick look at the numbers of how big the pet market in China has already been. I mean, the first one, I've introduced now the valuation in 2023 had already reached $40 billion. And despite the plateau between 2020 and 2022, I think the increasing rate, the growth rate has picked up again. And the next slide, let's move on, the retail sales, and it's also, I think it's also pick up following the same patterns. I'm not sure, but you are in the business. I mean, can you feel the similar kind of development in the field?
Yes, it's pretty similar. Before COVID-19 or even during the COVID-19, there is some kind of slow development, but it's still developing. And after the COVID, people get they have more willingness to go outside to have the pets accompany with them.
So because that number says it's a pet product, and you just gave me the quiz that includes 3 pet products, I mean, would you say that those 3 things, they are kind of regular stuff in your catering house, or they still kind of fancy products that are not many people haven't bought yet?
Oh, I would say those are really creative, but those are not expensive at all.
Okay.
So everybody can use it. For me, I have the snack box with me, and I have the seatbelt for my dog. So it is gradually going to people's daily life. I will see it will come back.
So it's definitely every day. It's not a fancy stuff that is still not kind of widely used yet. Okay, so the next one, the next show is the expect growth. I mean, we need to kind of look into the future. I mean, that's how most of business nowadays need to kind of be aware of if they want to continue to kind of make it a success in this industry. And by the year 2028, it's 130 million kind of dogs and cats that expect to be owned by Chinese owners. Well, that's a huge number. And the next one, I think, what is a pet owner? Which of the following pet service have you used? I think we need to kind of focus on the largest bar here, so veterinary care. Luckily, we have the panel of vets being with us today, and if that is the number, the recent development in the Chinese market. Now, I'd like to move on asking some questions to our panelists, to our experts today. And the first question I'd like to ask you, Dr. Cao. Dr. Cao, you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. I mean, we've seen a boom in this market, and you are definitely a frontline practitioner in this industry. I mean, depict for us, what is the busiest day looks like in your clinic nowadays?
Commonly, I would say we were getting more busy during weekend. Like today is Sunday, and I'm in my hospital right now. There are several patients waiting for surgery in the next room, and I just finished my last consult before the live show just started. So as well, I would say like we are kind of work overload a little bit.
And have you actually noticed this increase of numbers of people owning pet during your career time?
Yes. Our hospital just opened for like about 1 year, and we do see more and more clients recently. But I will say, at the same time, there are many more and more veterinary hospitals are opened recently. Not every hospital run pretty well, because pet owners or pet parents, they want to give their pet high quality vet care. So they will go to some certain hospitals which they trust.
Yeah, that's definitely attested to the fact or the figures that we just saw about this surge in the number of pet owners, and also their willingness to pay more for the services. And I'd like to move on to you, Dr. Bernstein. And what do you think that why nowadays more and more people want to have pets, want to have the company of an animal?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think there's a couple things that contribute to that. One of them definitely is just that we're seeing a more and more urban population, I think worldwide. People are moving to cities, and people who live in the city often have a very close relationship to their animals. So they tend to treat them as friends or family members. And of course, then these pets get seen more by veterinarians, seen more by groomers and boarding facilities. So not only are there more people having pets, but also those pets are more visible to the economy. Also, people are having kids later in life. So you'll often see, it's quite common for me to see a couple, young man and woman who come in with a dog, and then a year or two later, they come in with their new baby. So I think a lot of people have pets to sort of as a test run to see if they're ready to have children.
This question might sound a bit stupid, but Dr. Bernstein, I'd like to ask you because I'm not a pet owner for the moment. And I got this kind of stereotyping kind of thing that a cat owner is more kind of indoor, and then a dog owner is more outdoorsy. Do you think it's true?
Well, I think there's definitely a pattern there. If you get a dog, you should be taking it for 2 or 3 walks a day, so you better like being outside. But having said that, many cats are seen around Vancouver going for walks in a little harness. Mr. Pirate here, when the weather's nice, we go out for a little walk on a harness, and we can go enjoy the outdoors. But the nice thing about a cat is when it's raining outside, you can stay indoors and they don't really mind.
Does Mr. Cat want to chime in the conversation?
What do you think, Mr. Pirate?
He seems a little bit doubtful. Mm-hmm. But I guess that serves itself as an evidence. So let's move back to the studio. I mean, the question is for you, Ina. It sounds very fancy that the hotel or the catering service that you own. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, what people kind of look forward when they come to you for help?
Well, their basic needs is for just boarding only. Yeah. When they just come into my door, they will say, "Oh, I'm going to go outside. Can you take care of my baby for a little while?" But after they come into our facility, they will find there are so many things they can choose for their babies. Mm-hmm. Like we provide social activities to invite the dogs or cats coming to the group, play with their peers, to killing times, feel less lonely, enjoy the period of time staying there. And also we have like grooming, spa, all those kind of like comfy services.
It sounds it sounds like a 5-star hotel for pets.
Yes, or 7-star sometimes.
Okay, so do you notice that actually people are, because if the first thing they notice walking into the boarding house. Does that mean then they notice all these kind of services that they probably had never heard before? And do they kind of buy it? I mean, do they accept that this kind of service exclusively for their pets are kind of an ordinary stuff? Or they are themselves a little bit surprised that they can actually give their pets this service?
Oh, actually, most of services we don't lease them for sale. It's part of the boarding services. So the purpose we do this is to help the pets themselves to release the pressure when they split with their family, so they can stay in the hotel more comfortable, less stressful, and have some normal life just like home. So sometimes when the owners just come into the facility, they're doubt about those services. They say, oh, whether my pet can, especially for dogs, can he or she actually can play with other dogs? Can they fight? Will they get hurt? So this question is very often. But after they try a couple times of these services, they found their pets are even more happy, or they even willing to come back to this facility to play with their peers, even when their parents are actually not out of town.
Can I follow up with another question there? Because I'm not a dog owner myself. Apparently, I'm a little bit ignorant of what behaviors a dog would expect it. But like those parents, I mean, if they are concerned that their dog is suddenly going to left in a strange environment with a bunch of other dogs that probably it has never run into during its life, wouldn't there be a fight?
Well, it depends. So just like people, dogs have different personalities. So some of them are really
characters,
E-dogs.
different characters.
Yes, like E-dogs.
There's a famous online test for characters or personalities for human beings.
Right. So we apply them on dog also.
Can they?
Yes, yes. Actually, they're so with dogs, they're so different. For some E-dogs, they are born to play with other dogs. So even just
E-dogs means it's more open or more
outgoing.
Active?
Yeah, and they know how to play with others. So they are polite. They kind of smell each other at the very beginning, and they start to play.
Trying to establish that bond.
Yes, to gradually establish that kind of friendship. But for some other dogs, like eye dogs, they are shy.
Eye being
like
reserved a little bit.
More reserved, shy, internal. So they can be very shy at the very beginning. They kind of stand alone in the corner, observing other dogs playing around. So in this situation, we will invite them to the group, or we can start from one-to-one play. So to help them to step into the friend circle gradually. And after that, we found for some dogs, they're not born as an eye dog. They just don't know how to play.
But eventually, can they be brought out of the closet?
Not all of them can. Part of them can gradually join the group. But some other eye dogs, they are just so stubborn. They was like, oh, I would just keep being an eye dog. We will just leave them alone, or we have some other employees will play with them
to help us.
Yes.
But another thing that probably is strange to me, but not to other pet owners, is how you address or how those dog owners address themselves nowadays. Because we've heard this term. They no longer call themselves just owners of their pets. I mean, they call their pets family members. I mean, can I ask, do you have a dog or do you have a cat?
Yeah, I have a daughter dog.
You also call your a dog your kid.
Yes.
Not just the pet.
No, not at all.
Okay, so do a lot of your clients, do they also behave this way?
Well, actually, in the resort I'm running, we forbid people call owners.
Forbid?
Yeah.
Why is it forbidden?
Since me personally, I treat my dog as my kid, and basically all my employees have the same kind of mindset. Okay. So we share the same mindset. Okay. And we found most of our customers, they enjoy this tag also. They don't want to be like some cat or dog's owner, just like ownership. They enjoy to being their parents. Okay.
So Dr. Cao, I would like to, ask you to join in here. You also have the pet owners walking into your clinic, addressing themselves or addressing their pets as their kids or child?
Yes, yes. I would say most of our clients will call their pet animals as baby or as child.
It's very common nowadays?
Yes, yes. I would say like more than 90% of the clients
90?
will say, yeah.
Because the figure we just saw at the beginning of the show said that the largest group nowadays in China that owns the pet or being a pet parents are actually young people, I mean, younger than 35 years old. Do you notice that pattern as well? I mean, a lot of people walking into clinic, they're actually of that age group.
Yes, most of our clients come to our clinic would be around that age. They are most of them getting well educated, and they regard the animal as family members, and some were very experienced with animals. They have raised the pets many years, but some are newly parents. Yeah, new parents.
Doctor, how do you address your pet in front of your friends or families? Dr.
Yes,
Cao.
I have 3 cats, and they are all street animals. I will regard them as my child as well. I have 2 daughters and one son. Yeah.
Okay. Just to keep, because this is a very interesting phenomenon for me and Dr. Burstein. Is it the same in Canada, that the people refer to their pets as their kids or their children?
You know, it definitely happens. I think everybody has a different relationship to their animals, but I think the more you look at people who live in the city, particularly as Dr. Cao said, more educated people, then you definitely have more of a family relationship to your pets, referring them to kids. I mean, Mr. Pirate, I raised him from when he was 1 week old, so he's definitely my son. But also a lot of people say little friends, you know, like in the clinic, you know, I'll call animals, hey, my little friend, how's your little friend doing? And people love that because I think that also really reflects their relationship with their animals.
And another phenomenon we notice here in China is that more and more young people have started to owning pets, and be they dogs or cats or other unusual pets. It's kind of against the stereotyping that we usually have, especially from TV, from film, that are mostly the senior member of the society would have animal companions. So what is your take on this? Why do you think that it's more and more young people, presumably in Canada as well, the young people now have started to kind of switch to this kind of lifestyle with a pet?
Yeah, you know, as I said earlier, I think particularly with dogs, a lot of couples will get dogs almost as a trial run to see what it's like having a little child. Like I said, I'll quite often see a couple come in with a dog and then a year later come in with a baby. But also I think, again, with people moving more and often they live far away from their family, if they move between cities for university or for work, I think they still have a need for connection. And I think pets are one way in which we can fulfill that need. Have a little friend that travels with you, lives with you as you move through life. So I think that's definitely a part of it as well. And of course, I think it's just, particularly in the last few years, you know, people have really maybe not traveled as much as they used to. And again, when you stay at home a lot, it's nice to have a companion to spend a lot of time with. If you like going outside, you know, in Vancouver, we have beautiful nature here with mountains and lakes. And people who like to go hiking or go in the mountains, again, love to have a dog to go with them.
I noticed that both, every one of you here, actually, you are quite active on social media. And Dr. Burstein, you are a very popular YouTuber. And both Dr. Cao and Ina here, you have your accounts for your facilities on Chinese social media networks. And do all of you, I mean, this question is for all of you, jump in free. I mean, do you think that social media plays a part in the boom of the more young people having pets? Let's start with you, from you.
Yeah, sure. Actually, social media is definitely one of the best places that both facilities and owners, or even the people who prepare to be owners to know each other. Like for example, on the social media we are running, we post some cute videos online every day. We treat them as online drugs, which can which can cure people when they feel sad, feel boring.
You mean online medicine? I mean, for the viewers, if they feel lonely or sad, when they watch your video, they can feel some comfort.
Yeah, they can feel more comfortable or even more positive to being a pet owner in the future. Yes.
Okay. So what do you post? Sorry, doctor. Please carry on.
Oh, I was just going to say that I think that's a great insight, and also I think a lot of people get inspired by watching, videos of their pets outside. A lot of people love to post outdoor adventures with cats and dogs, and I think that can be a real inspiration. We have one gentleman who bicycled across Canada with a little cat in his basket on the front of his bicycle, and for those of you who know geography, that's several thousand kilometers, and I think that kind of thing can really inspire people to look at animals in a different way, because you don't really think of a cat as the kind of pet you can go camping with, but you can if you train them right, and if you raise them.
That's a very interesting trend, because because I work at CGTN social media desk, and I've seen a lot of videos with hikers or just travelers or cyclists around different parts of the world. They always have a pet with them. So either a dog or sometimes a cat. I think it's a little bit cruel. I don't know. Maybe I'm using the wrong word to have a cat, which normally you associate with indoor activities, to be with you going into a mountain. would it
it may surprise you to hear this, but before they became pets, for about several million years, cats did live outside.
Oh, well, that's certainly true, but still, so Dr. Cao, what would you say on this? I mean, on social media and the role it plays with both the life of people, the pet owners, and the pets.
Yes. It's not like not only dogs and cats. Also, there are many exotic pets videos being liked by many owners, like snakes, like birds, like rabbits. We all love it. And also, we will use internet as a tool to introduce ourselves. Like as a vet, I previously just dedicate on my medical part. But after I established a hospital, we need to use some method to let others know our hospital. So we will share some post some daily work vlogs, like how we train the newcomers, how we treat the severely ill animals to let our clients know us. And also, we will share some vlogs like teaching clients how to brush the teeth, how to wash the ears, this kind of client education videos. This will increase the customer loyalties. And because our hospital just opened 1 year, without this internet work, we cannot be success in such a short time.
Well, just quickly, for all of you, are cats and the dogs kind of natural in front of the camera, natural superstars in front of the camera, because they all look so cute, so lovely in front of the camera, but actually can they get used to this modern human technology? I start with you, Dr. Basting.
Well, I think there's a famous quote from the golden age of Hollywood that says, "Never work with children or animals." And as somebody who does quite a bit of video with animals, I don't entirely agree with that, but there's definitely challenges involved. You can definitely train animals to be more relaxed in front of a camera, but it's more about your relationship with the animal and then being relaxed with you, because they don't know what a camera is. So it's if you have a good relationship and a good way of approaching animals, then it will be relaxed with you, and that looks good on camera.
Okay, so Yinan, do you have a superstar training course in your hotel?
Oh yeah, actually we do have this kind of course, but I'm totally agree with Doctor. So instead of training them as a superstar, they can staring at the camera, do whatever action you want them to do. We prefer to, since we treat them as family members, we want them to be themselves. So what we are doing to shoot the video is try to explain or show what is their lifestyle. So basically just like a vlog, we just to follow the whole day to show how he or she play with the peers, how they actually sleeping, how cute they are, those kind of daily scenes instead of actually want them to staring at the camera or tell a story.
I think my favorite videos of the dogs and the cats is that the owners always show their pets, the video of the pets themselves. And sometimes they look startled and sometimes they look confused. I mean, that's always adorable. Is that healthy, or is that, it's kind of a healthy way of interacting with their pets?
Well, as if it's a natural thing from the pet, I agree with that. It's healthy.
It's okay.
But if it's too many trainings apply on top of that, for example, I know somebody will force the pet to stand steadily there for a couple hours just to capture some.
Okay, that would create unwanted pressure on.
No, yes, that's a wrong way to train them.
Okay, so back to your community with other pet owners, do you have kind of both online and offline activities? With the pets?
Yeah, well, we host a lot online activities almost every weekend. We have like a birthday party. For example, last week we just finished a March birthday party for furry babies born on March. So we gather them together with their owners or their parents. We celebrate together. We cook the cake for them, and they can share with each other and take some back home.
And also, I've seen some events on social media, the events of adoption. Because sometimes in the street, dogs in the street, cats, and the organizers of the event, we just kind of put them together and kind of put up a notice on social media accounts and looking for them a potential owner. Do you also have that kind of activity?
Yes, we do have that every season. Actually, my dog named Codes, I adopted her.
Button.
Button, yes,
It's
English
a cute
name Button.
dog name as many.
Very, but I barely use that. It's a little bit hard to understand for people.
Okay.
But I call her Codes. Yeah, I adopted her 4 years ago, and
before the adoption, he was a. She was.
Yeah, she was a street dog.
Okay.
She born on the street and stayed outside for 5 months, and then I adopted her. So her personality is a little bit sensitive and nervous. That's why I want to host a lot adaptation events like that.
Do you think that this character of being sensitive, a bit nervous, had anything to do with the fact that she was she spent a very early kind of period of her time on the street without a home? Definitely,
yes. It's definitely relative and strongly relative. Since I recognize, we had so many adaptation events, so we can clearly distinguish the babies, the furry babies who born in the facility or born outside, grow up in the facility, the difference between them. So definitely street life will influence their personality a little bit, but as if they can join the family, which is warm and welcoming, this can be changed.
Okay. Dr. Cao, if I can move to you with the same question. Do you think, Hangzhou is a fairly developed Chinese city, and just like Beijing and Shanghai, but do you think in Hangzhou there are facilities for pet adoption kind of enough to because that people can, pet owners, they can have rainy days. And sometimes in so many countries, not just in China, in so many countries, they cannot afford anymore to have their animal companions, and the pets would end up on the streets. But do you think in Hangzhou you have facility enough to take care of those abandoned dogs and cats?
Yes. So first, we have some like adoption market, and like there are specific day we will the animals need to be adopted to the market to let the other owners know there are some animals waiting for a family. And also, I would say it's another thing we need to take care or we need to focus on is how to reduce the amount of the wild animals. The thing we can do is the TNR. TNR is treat, nurturing, and relief. We can desex of the wild dogs and cats to make them give less babies, so reduce the amount of the wild animals.
I think this question is also for all of you, because I really want to know the answer to it. I know that because Dr. Burstein, it just reminded me that actually millions of years ago that the cats actually were living outside in the wild. So do you think in the environment, in the ecosystem of a city, do you think a cat or a dog actually naturally belong to this ecosystem, or they can only live in a household environment? Dr. Burstein.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that unwanted animals are definitely a global problem, and every country struggles with this. Some countries more successfully than others. And, you know, in Canada, we're very successful at reducing our wild and feral animal population, and especially in cities, through the work of both government agencies and private charities. And while cats and dogs can live in an urban environment, I don't think it's a very natural environment for them at all. And it's really they don't live a good life in the city. You know, feral animals, it is not a good life for them. And they also pose a public health risk because they can spread diseases like rabies, like gastrointestinal parasites, fleas. So I think controlling wildlife populations and also making sure animals aren't abandoned is as much an animal welfare issue as it is a public health issue that needs to be tackled from all angles. And certainly abandoning animals is never okay. You know, there's so many ways to take care of an animal if you can't take care of it itself. And I think it's really important message to communicate that it's never okay to throw an animal on the street or abandon it.
Yes. Because I hope that we keep talking about this word abandonment. I hope this word doesn't startle our two little friends in your next to you. But do you think the facilities like food bank, the pet food bank, do you think it's an effective way to solve this issue? Do we have a kind of pet food bank in Beijing, as far as you know?
Actually, pet food bank is everywhere. Basically, all the trash cans are their food bank.
That sounds a bit sad.
Yes, it's basically everywhere. And even in my resort, since all my employees, they are pet lovers, so they build up our own pet food banks next to the resorts. So we leave some extra food there, so they can the pets can come here just like a buffet.
But they probably, the street cats, if they are abandoned, probably they no longer trust the human beings as they probably did before.
No, you are right. They are not that, they don't trust people that much as before. So we found they come to our food bank during nighttime, or at the very beginning, they're afraid to come close to us, but after a couple days or company, they know each other. We know each other, so they can come more frequent. So coming back to your question, I don't think food bank is the right way. Maybe it's not the perfect way to feed them, since not all the people know what kind of food is good for them. Some people just pour their left foods with...
So the food that's okay for human consumption is not necessarily okay for animals.
That's right, especially those super salty or super spicy. I saw once of time my neighbor gave a cat 水煮鱼, which is
very spicy fish dish.
Yes, spicy and spoiled and hot extremely. So it's
even though it was a fish, but it was not okay.
No, and there is some kind of bone inside which can hurt their stomach. So so in that situation, maybe food bank is not perfect for them, but at least it can make them live a little bit longer. So yeah. So
Dr. Burstein, you said that Vancouver has been quite successful with treating street animals, and I guess it's also quite successful in building what we like to call a pet-friendly space or environment. Can you kind of a picture for us what it looks like as a perfect kind of a pet-friendly city?
Yeah, well, I think that there's kind of three factors that really contribute to a city being pet-friendly. The first one is probably housing, and it's probably the biggest one, is making sure that people can rent apartments that allow pets. You know, in Canada, buildings that don't allow pets are quite common, and unfortunately, it's a big barrier for many people having pets, which is very frustrating as more and more people live in apartments and live in cities. The second one, I think, is city policies and city design. And I think this is like a huge one that Vancouver does get right, where you have to have nice parks, off-leash parks where dogs can run and play in an area that's safe, where they're not going to bother people who don't want to be around dogs and not run out into traffic, but can also get some exercise and play. You know, having a park near a beach, for example, is fantastic. They can go swimming. And that's all a part of city management and city policy. Allowing animals to public transit is something that Canada is not very good at, but Europe is. And again, many people in cities don't have a car, and being able to take their pet on a bus or a train is actually really important to them. So I think there's a lot of policy decisions in city design that can make a city more pet friendly. And then the third thing, I think, is a culture of personal responsibility. So that people taking ownership of their environment, taking, you know, a personal stake in cleaning up after their pets, making sure that their pets, you know, get flea and parasite treatments so they're not contaminating the environment. I think, and making sure that we, you know, that's why Vancouver is one of the cleanest cities in the world, because everybody cleans up, everybody takes care of their pets and their parks. And so we all get to live in a really nice environment, which is better for everyone, both dogs and the people who have pets, and the people who don't have pets, but then have to share that space with them. Actually, so it's really a multi-level approach.
Actually, to follow on that question, I think the last thing I'd like to know, and from you, Dr. Cao, to kind of bring it back to the Chinese context, for people who don't own a pet, don't own a dog or a cat, what do you think is the key education kind of forum for them to understand the life of a pet and the lifestyle of having a pet? What would you say to that?
So some people were getting annoyed because of they do not have pets. They will be annoyed, like poops everywhere or pee around. So as pet owner, we need to take care about that part. We need to be patient. Like if there's poop, we will take away. Do not annoy the, do not make the people do not have pets getting angry. So the other thing is let them know the animals is alive. They have the right to getting their daily life like that. Yeah.
You know, anything to add on that?
Well, yeah, actually, I think both doctors are definitely right. I know there are kind of some like social policy, like some kind of public establishment can definitely help a city make more pet friendly.
Well, maybe let's imagine kind of what if a perfect kind of both human and the pet friendly city looks like for you.
Well, I would say be responsible to each other. Well, as a human being, we have full responsibility to take care of our baby, not only just love them, but also make them a right identity or right independent.
Because their well-being eventually will bring the well-being of human beings.
Right, to take care of their poops, their pees, their their barking, or even don't fight with other dogs. That's all like people's responsibility. So we need to take care of that part before we're asking others to accept them.
So I guess if I can say something, I think that's a really good point. We have to remember that our pets are animals. You know, they're living creatures with their own needs and their own view of the world. We need to remember that pets are not toys. They're not objects. That's why I think a lot of us don't like saying that we're pet owners, that we're pet friends, pet family, and I think it really helps us remember that they really have their own needs, and as their parents, we try to meet them, and that's our responsibility. It's a part of why we have a pet, is so we can meet their needs and take care of them properly. And that involves mental welfare as well as physical welfare.
So on that note, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today's talk. But I think that to take care, to create a pet-friendly society, it's not just about the well-being of our pets, but also it's the well-being of the human ourselves. But it's exactly because of that, I think the responsibility of building such a society eventually falls on the shoulder of human beings. Although that we cannot, I mean, because the time is running up, we cannot continue this conversation on this platform, but you can always share with us your thoughts in the comment section of this live post or on any of the posts on CGTN's social media accounts. Many probably would ask the question, why are we talking about a pet's life? I think the reason for that, if there's not any other, is that the way that we treat the way that we treat animals eventually reflects the depth of our civilization. And we certainly don't want to look back on that score. That's what we have for today. I'd like to say thank you on behalf of all the viewers of this show to our panelists, Maina, Dr. Bernstein, and Dr. Cao online. Thank you all. And yeah, can I just say goodbye to our little dog and cat friends? Yeah. I'm so sorry that they didn't contribute too much. I think only by their presence they've brightened this show. This is Dean Yang. I'd like to say goodbye to you all, but don't forget, this is a Hype where minds collide, ideas amplified. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Meow.
Bye.